For my first strategy, it was I'll use others in my lane to help improve my technique and help me be more motivated. I implemented this by really working and trying to ask my peers how to improve my technique and what they saw in my technique that needed to be changed for the better. I definitely, each time I team up with someone, I'll basically team up with the person in front of me and try and catch them, and that's how it really helps me to motivate and work hard in the lane. It is working in the way of it really helps me push and really gets me through those fitness sets, and I look at the other's technique and think, oh, they're doing that right, they're doing that wrong, so it really helps my technique and really helps me get better. The reason why this is successful for me is I really do enjoy working in a team environment. It helps me really strive and helps motivate me, and it really helps me push with the other people swimming around me. I didn't think about the effects of me missing sessions due to my sport and other commitments, because others that have been in the whole time have actually gotten way ahead of me, or quite a bit ahead of me with their technique, so I didn't think that was going to happen. I assumed my technique would be much better by now. I think I put that down to missing a few too many sessions and not being flexible enough as well. Yep. I'm going to continue this strategy because it really helps me enjoy and get through all the sets and all the training, being in a team environment and working with others in my lane. It really helps me be motivated and really helps me improve my technique. For my second strategy, I did do a simple stretching regime to improve my flexibility and streamline. I've implemented this by I do a 10-minute stretching regime 3 times a week. It really does help me with my streamline, as I feel like I'm actually gliding through the water better now. I make sure I do it before both my rugby trainings and the period before swimming. I try to do it. Yeah, it really helps me. It is working in the way of it really, my streamline has got much better, and my flexibility and my shoulders and my deltoids and that have got my flexibility in there is much better than it was, so it is really working. I put this down to actually regularly stretching and not just doing it sometimes, because if I did it only sometimes I wouldn't really get anything out of it. So by me actually regularly doing the stretching regime, it really helps me improve myself in the pool. I didn't think about that I'd have an injury on my right shoulder for a while. I had a bit of a stinger on my right shoulder, so I couldn't really stretch it as much. This was a bit of a setback because my right shoulder, obviously, if I was working my left shoulder, but my right shoulder wasn't getting the same workout as my left shoulder was due to the injury on it. So I didn't think that was going to happen. I assumed after about 2 weeks of stretching I'd really see a big difference, but it's only slowly working away, and now I'm starting to actually feel the difference. But I assumed over 2 weeks I'd really feel a difference, but I didn't really. I'm going to continue this strategy because it is very crucial for me to get to the achieved level that my streamline is good and help me glide through the water. For my third strategy, it is allow myself an extra hour in the weekend to go swimming. This strategy, I implement this by giving up a little time either during the week or the weekend, because sometimes on the weekend I was pretty busy. I implemented it by just going to the pools when I could, when I was free. It's not working as well as I expected to due to a lot of commitments during the week and my timetable changing all the time on Saturdays and Sundays and during the week. So that didn't help, and it was really tough to really get the extra swim in. I put this down to my other sporting, my softball and my rugby, and definitely schoolwork as well. It's hard to get out and spend time, getting extra swimming while, training for all these other things. I didn't think that this would missing so many of these weekends and sometimes during the week would put me so far behind the others, but it has. It hasn't helped my swimming at all, and it's really kind of put me further down than I was. I assumed that I'd always have time on the weekends and that to go for an extra swim, but it ended up that I was getting too busy and ended up missing more and more of my extra swims. I'm going to keep this strategy because I'm going to make a bigger effort to actually get the extra swims in and balance everything else, and because if I do implement this strategy properly, it will really help me get to the achieve level I want to be at. My fourth strategy is increase my distance swum or set swum and induce overload for my training regime. I've implemented this by every session I've increased the distance, and it's amazing how far I've come from the start with my distances. So it's really helped me in making me a stronger swimmer than at the start. It is working in the way of I can more confidently swim high distances easier, and I will not improve if I keep doing the same distance, so it really does help me in my swimming regime. I put this down to the overload actually really helps my training. Overload is obviously helps my training heaps because it is putting more stress and more distance on my body, so it's actually testing it more than doing the same thing all the time, so I don't improve. I didn't think about the stress this would put on my shoulder. In my left shoulder I have a bursa, and when I swim longer distances, the longer I swim, the more painful it gets. Sometimes when I'm focusing more on my shoulders, so I didn't think about that. I assumed it'd get easier and easier to swim the longer distances, but it actually is still really hard to swim the longer distances, and I just thought it would be much easier by now, but it's not. I'm going to keep this strategy because it is the easiest way to improve my swimming, and it is the best way to inducing overload and increasing my sets will only make me faster and better at swimming.